Hey everyone, Chip Rogers here again, and Friday afternoon, day two of Ultimate Partner Live in Redmond, and it's been a great day and a half so far. It's starting to wind down. We just had lunch and got some afternoon sessions, but it's been a good
Great.
couple of days.
Yeah, it's been a great couple of days. It's been great to see a lot. It's great to be back on campus because this is where my office used to be when I worked for Microsoft, and I got to see a ton of, I'll say old friends. We're not old friends. I'll say friends we've known for a while.
So I am excited to be joined by Jeff Shuey. Jeff is now your title is explain your title.
I think I'm currently strategic partner manager. So
Strategic partner manager.
I work
And
with partners, obviously Microsoft, but others.
yeah, a lot of focus on Microsoft. You're
Yeah.
here. We're here with Microsoft on the Microsoft campus, and a lot of Microsoft executives here. So first of all, welcome, Jeff.
Thank you. It's good to be here. It's good to be on your video, so I'm glad to get a chance to talk with you live in the hallway, and hopefully lots of people will see this, and who knows, maybe they'll even ping me on LinkedIn or ping me wherever and say, tell me more about this Azure Interconnect thing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So let's start there. Tell me a little bit about what your role is currently with Oracle. I don't think I said that with Oracle. And tell me what your role is and how you're working with Microsoft and with Azure.
Okay, so my role it's pretty broad. I mean, I do work with lots of partners, and I think I mentioned it right before we started taping. I work a lot with Dell, but I also work with other partners. And of course, I work with Microsoft. And the Microsoft side is, Oracle's a big company, just like Microsoft's a big company. So I've heard it a lot this week, there is no me only doing things, there's a we. So what we work on, but I also work on specifically, is how Microsoft and Oracle can, I'll say, somewhat finally get to work together again. And for a long time, Oracle databases run on top of Windows Server,
Sure.
but as of technically about 5 years ago, but really we announced it formally about 3 years ago, Oracle database can run on top of Azure, and the good news is the Azure admins, the exact same tools they're used to using, they manage the Oracle database, so they don't have to learn anything new. The Azure deployment looks exactly the same, and they get the advantage of running Oracle database on top of it.
Yeah. Well, that's terrific. That's like a meeting of the titans.
It is, and what it ultimately does, and I'll come back to Azure Interconnect in a second, but what it allows end customers to do is they don't have to worry, and they don't have to spend as much time worrying about where their workloads run.
Mm-hmm.
They can focus on getting business done. And if they happen to have Oracle workloads that run on Oracle database, great.
Yeah.
And then their admins that manage their Azure instances can do everything they need to do. And if they happen to have workloads that run on Azure, could be Dynamics, could be whatever, they again get to use the same tool. So they get to build and run. The technical side is simplified. The back end obviously have the advanced capabilities of Oracle database or like Cosmos DB as an example, and they can run together. And the ultimate benefit is the end customers, they get to run their business and operationally do it. And we always say better, faster, cheaper.
Yeah. So how is that? So it's been the last 3 years that it really was launched. What's been the uptake and what's been the customer response?
The customers seem to be really happy with it. So customers are obviously, we want to get the word out. We want more people to know about it, but the uptake has been good. I don't have specific customers that I can talk about, but there are customers that are using it today and they like it. And I'm going to go back even 5 years ago when Azure Interconnect was first announced. Azure Interconnect is where there's the data centers, they can be physically co-located together or close to each other. And underneath the covers, there's cables, if you will, but basically they're connected. So high speed, low latency, and highly secure and very governed. And that's how Azure Interconnect started. And again, in those cases, is how it all sort of began, where an end customer wants to run Microsoft workloads, they want Oracle workloads, and they want the high speed, low latency, no ingress egress costs, and obviously very secured and very governed. That's where Azure Interconnect started, and then that was 5 years ago. And about 3 years ago, maybe it was 2 or 3 years ago, when Oracle database on Azure came out. And now they can do the Azure Interconnect, that's been around for a while, and now they can have the database side and get the best of both worlds in one place.
Yeah, well, that's great. What so we're here on Microsoft campus. There have been a lot of Microsoft executives here. What has been your objective this week to be here and at Ultimate Partner?
I think probably my biggest objective was just to kind of hear the different perspectives. I mean, obviously we all know what we think, but it's nice to hear a couple things. One, kind of what the Microsoft execs are saying. So we heard from a former exec this morning, Alyssa Fitzpatrick, and then prior to that, Lori Berg was on stage, and then yesterday we had Nicole Dees, and she was up on stage and talking about how it's very much of a partner-led ecosystem, and Microsoft is, I mean, they've pioneered and championed that, 25 years ago when I joined Microsoft in '99. That's obviously continued on. So it was, I think the primary thing was just getting a perspective of what's happening with partners, how is Microsoft approaching and encouraging the partner ecosystem. That's been probably the biggest impetus of my designs and goal to be here this week.
Yeah. You're probably up here a lot working with Microsoft and with Microsoft executives and with the field organization. Is that are you?
No, not really. I mean, these days between Zoom and team calls, you don't physically always have to be someplace. So sure, lots of conversations happen, but they don't always happen on our campus or on Microsoft's campus. I mean, I do love coming back, and we're standing just 15 feet away from what I say the third best thing of working at Microsoft or working with Microsoft is, and that is all the chocolate milk you can drink. But surprisingly, no, we don't. We obviously have a lot of conversations, and there's a lot of playbooks and run books that are built sort of behind the scenes, but we don't necessarily have to see each other all the time in person, for better or worse, however you want to look at that, post-COVID days.
Yeah. Well, that's great. So as a partner manager, partner leader, working with Microsoft, you have a background, with Microsoft. Where have you? What's been, some of the positive things about working with Microsoft? Have you had, challenges along the way?
I mean, there's lots of positives. There's always challenges. I mean, sometimes the challenges, and some of it's being here this week too, is it's just people don't know what they don't know. They don't know. They hear sort of legendary battles from 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, how Microsoft and Oracle were mostly more antagonistic. Going forward, that's not really the case. And ultimately what it comes down to, and we heard a lot about this week, is it's very end customer driven. It's not what we want. It's not necessarily what Microsoft wants or what SIs or other ISVs want. It's how do we serve the end customer best? And if that's a case where they want to run an Oracle database, great. Let's help them figure out how to do that. If they want to run it on Azure, great. We can do that. So I think probably the biggest takeaway, and it's not just from this week, it's been nice because this is a bit of a culmination of all those efforts where end customers are the goal. How do we help the end customer do what they want? And obviously it has to be secure, it has to be fast, it has to be cost efficient. All those things, of course, have to be in there. And I think the big thing, and we heard Satya Nadella and Larry Ellison talk about it now, is 2 Septembers ago, so September of 2023, when they announced this Azure on Oracle on Azure deployment model option. And again, it's about how do we serve the customer best?
That's what it's all about, right? It's making sure that customers, as partners, that you're working together for customer success.
Yeah, and I think and what we've heard this week, and it's I mean, this happens to be a pinnacle because we're all here, we're in the same rooms, but what we're seeing more and more, and Microsoft is certainly leading on this effort, is they're basically saying we're going to do this through and with partners, and and I wasn't going to say they don't differentiate, but really it could be learning providers, it could be ISVs, it could be SIs, it could be VARs, it could be VADs, and bringing them all together, again, to serve what the customer wants. And it's not easy. I mean, we heard today there's 500,000 Microsoft partners around the world, and 165,000 in the Americas. And that's a very consequential number. It's tough to, as we heard Lori Borg talk about earlier, Lori Borg, the VP at Microsoft, talk about, it's tough to get sort of all the things moving in alignment, especially when there's so many moving parts. And there's no easy answer, but I give Microsoft credit for taking that effort and putting it, in a sense, on their shoulders and building the ecosystem behind it. And we heard a lot about ecosystems too, but building the ecosystem behind it so that partners could work together. And again, I don't mean to keep harping on the deliver what the customer wants, but that's the end goal. Whether you're an SI, an ISV, a cloud platform provider, or a training partner, or a distributor, you need to build solutions that customers actually want. And it's getting, in some senses, easier because of AI, and in some senses harder also because of AI. And as we heard Dux from AvePoint talk about, the biggest challenge there is where are you pulling your data from? And is your data, not that it's dirty data, but is it data that actually is going to feed your AI engines to get you the results you want? And there's a challenge of how do we make sure the best data is out there and that you don't unintentionally expose somebody's personally identifiable information, yet still get the business outcomes you want.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Jeff, thank you so much for taking time, and sharing your insights. This is congrats on the growth of the partnership, and it's great to see you.
Well, it's great to see you too, Chip. Thanks for making the time to put this together, and I look forward to seeing it and to see the ever-present thing of how fast I'm talking, because I talk fast. But I know that everybody in the audience can listen fast and learn fast.
That's right. Or slow it down. Slow down the speed.
No, never.
It's great. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good day, and thanks for being at the event.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And thank you all for joining, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.